Coming up on the podcast, Kalie and I recap our trip to Mexico. A lot of good stories. And I want to tell you about some tour dates before we start. The day you're watching this, I will be in Omaha at the Funny Bone. And then the next night, tomorrow, Kansas City at the Kansas City Improv. Very excited for both of these shows. And then next week, big week for me, I will be in Boston November 17th and 18th for 3 shows in Laugh Boston. And don't want to forget the night before that, I will be in Hartford at the Hartford Funny Bone, November, that has to be the 16th. I'm doing this off of memory because I'm so fucking smart, dude. And then for the rest of December, I will be in Indianapolis, St. Louis, Naples, Florida, and Fort Lauderdale. Get your tickets. Everything's easy to find. Go to my Instagram. Go to the YouTube thing. Dude, you know what I mean? Or Google it. It's easy to find. And I don't think I forgot any tour dates. So I think we should go ahead and start the podcast. Let's do it, man. Hola. Bienvenidos. Me llamo Guillermo. Y mi amor, Kalie, es aquí. Hola. ¿Qué tal? and that's all the Spanish I know.
Hola.
Hi, everybody. We're back. It's the podcast. It's Will, Burkart. It's the podcast. And I'm going to keep it real with you guys right now. Look, man, we're a little burnt out right now, okay? And you know I keep it real with you guys always. This trip we took to Mexico City, I'm going to give all the details about it, and Kalie's going to give her thoughts as well. But I'm going to tell you guys kind of the schedule of how this happened because you'll more so understand the burnt outness we're going through right now. So basically what happened is that I did Orlando, shout out Orlando, and got back for a day. And in my week off, I went to Mexico instead of relaxing. And then I came back from Mexico yesterday, right? Got back after, it was a 14-hour travel day. I'll explain why in a minute. And this is my one free day and had to rush to do this podcast basically. And then I leave tomorrow for Nebraska. So I am kind of all over the place right now. And I'm going to do my best to give a nice little travel recap, kind of like a travelogue, for lack of a better term. But I wanted Kalie to be here. Again, keeping it real. Kalie's exhausted, as am I. She is a therapist and she had a bunch of clients today. And I asked her to come on the podcast because she went on the trip with me. But I'm going to take more of the brunt of the recap to let her chill. But I want her here to give her awesome, sexy thoughts on the whole thing. So yeah, I just want to let you guys know kind of how this format is going to work. And I hope you enjoy a stand-up-less podcast. It's a nice little break. You know, talk about some life stuff, talk about some travel stuff. And so while we went to Mexico is for one of my best buddies from college, Steve, who you guys met early on in the podcast if you've been with it since the beginning. And bit of a destination wedding, but not too bad, you know. We flew we should have flown to from LA to Mexico, but I tried to save a little money and did a connecting flight in Vegas, saved a couple $100. But again, I talked about in the last episode, Spirit fucked me over big time. They basically switched our later connecting flights, the return flights. They just changed them. Different days. Oh, you guys have connecting flights? Yeah, we're just going to switch that all around. We're just going to switch around the days. That's all good. You'll figure it out, right? So it was like already stress going into the trip, basically. And so again, the travel day was basically like LA to Vegas. That's a quick flight. And then we have like a 2-hour layover and about a 3.5-hour flight to Mexico. So it was a long time. Kalie got her a bunch of snacks for the plane. That's kind of her trademark thing is we take a flight. I'm probably dehydrated and hungry, but she has like a giant iced tea and Cheez-Its and gummies and buys soup on the plane. I mean, we've dealt with this in like road trips as well. You have to be eating snacks basically the whole time. Mm-hmm. And you've said it's more about like boredom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm not smart about it. I won't like take snacks from home. I have to
Right.
make sure to like spend all my money on the expensive airplane snack.
Also, real quick, Snail, the Boston Terrier, Kalie's beautiful dog, and also my stepdaughter is in the room. So if you hear any snoring or click-clacking, Mike's not having a seizure. That's Snail. So I noticed something on the flight that I want to point out that I didn't even mention to you is that I always kind of spy on people a little bit on kind of what they're doing. You know, what's going on. I like be aware of the surroundings a little bit. And the people in front of us, the older people, are playing solitaire for a full 3.5 hours on one iPad. I don't know how they did it, but one iPad, solitaire, which is arguably the most boring game, for 3.5 hours straight. Didn't take a break. It was pretty impressive. I don't know what that was about, but I'm very impressed.
Well, I'm surprised that you think solitaire is boring because I catch you playing solitaire all the time.
Facts.
Even while you're working out on the treadmill, you're playing solitaire.
This is true. I work out
You're low key
so
kind of
much.
addicted to solitaire. I feel like you were kind of peeping them like, hey, let me play.
Let me jump in. Yo, where's that jack go? I got you.
You're like, solitaire is so boring. I don't know why we're playing it.
I can't imagine playing it for 3 hours on a plane. Imagine if we shared an iPad and played solitaire for 3 hours. I mean, that's...
It'd be kind of nice.
I fly through 3 different games on the plane. I'll rotate between solitaire, Candy Crush, and poker. So I'll kind of file through those things, basically. But solitaire, that's it. I mean, how many times can you do it? I'll do solitaire for 20 minutes. They were playing it the whole flight. Anyways, I just want to shout that out.
Do they have their headphones in, at least?
Oh my God, we'll get to that. We have a significant no headphone update at the end of this, and I can't wait for it. We get out of the airport. I'm going to call us an Uber, and immediately we see like legit army guys outside of the pickup zone. These dudes are in legit full like G.I. Joe outfit, machine guns. It always takes self-control for me not to like want to touch the machine gun a little bit. Just to doink, just a little. I'm not going to do anything. I promise. But I just want to, it's like, that's so cool. Like I played with you when I was a kid. That's crazy. And I remember I was going to call an Uber, and I was always going to, gonna handle all this stuff because getting Kalie's was just along for the ride, and this is my thing. This is my buddy's wedding, so I'm responsible to be the captain of this ship. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how you say captain in Spanish, but should have figured it out.
El capitán.
El capitán. I don't know if that's right. We'll fact check this after. We'll just edit in your mouth in a different one. El capitano. Like you fix it later. We'll fix it in post. So again, I opened the Uber app and I was like, let me call us an Uber, and it's how much is the Uber? It's $300, and I was like, can we go back? Is it too late to cancel the trip? But I realized it's in pesos. And again, still sweating a little bit because I was like, 300 pesos? This is going to be like $100 ride. That's one ride. We're here for 3.5 days. And then I did the conversion, and 300 pesos is like $7. I was like, oh, cool. Hell yeah. Got in the Uber and driving through the city. And, we're on a bit of a rush because the first night we're there, this is Thursday. The schedule basically goes, Thursday is the welcome party, which I think is kind of like a rehearsal, almost like a rehearsal dinner. Mm-hmm. I don't know it's like hey, come join us for drinks and tacos and hang out. And then Friday was a free day. And then Saturday was the wedding, right? So Thursday we land. We're already late. We were going to show up to the party 3 hours late. And we were fingers crossed that food was going to be available there, right? That was the hope. We rush to the hotel. We check in. Already language barrier is a problem because the guy at the hotel check-in, which is kind of a hotel Airbnb thing where it's the rooms are more of like an apartment than a standard hotel, which I thought was nice. So something funny happened at the hotel is that for whatever reason, I think security measure, every time you walk into the hotel, you have to say your room number. I don't know why that is. I think it's some sort of, again, security measure. So every time you walk in, you say your room number. You walk up to your room. You walk out, you say the room number to the person at the front desk, and then you leave. So every time you're coming and going, you are saying your room number. Our room number was 601. So it's like, so you basically say 601, right? 601. But it was we said it so much that I was almost getting conditioned in my head that that's how you say hello and goodbye. Because every time I'd walk in the building, I'd go, 601. And I'd leave and go, 601, and then leave. So I was worried that at some point I was going to start getting in my head. I'd go to Starbucks and they'd be like, oh, hola. And I say, 601. Buenos dias. And 601 to you, sir. It really felt like that's what I was going to. Not as many people spoke English as I thought on this trip. Like really very, very limited English. I was very surprised to hear that. But again, like already having to use Google Translate on my phone to try to fill out the kind of the welcome documents. I'm pretty sure I put my credit card number instead of my name in one part, for sure. My name is 4147-2024 XYZ. You can guess the rest. Steal my info, whatever. So already we're off to kind of like when we're rushed, it's weird to rush and also have to translate what you're saying. It's a bit of a strange feeling, also after traveling for 8 hours. So we rush to get ready to go to this party, which I still am a little confused about the idea of a rehearsal dinner. What are you rehearsing?
The dinner.
What are you, like, how do you use fork and knives? Like, what are you, is all these weddings have, and Mike, you can chime in too, about like a rehearsal dinner. It's almost like you're rehearsing the situation, I guess. You're rehearsing the I don't know, how the speed, I don't know, the format of it. I'm still confused about what the rehearsal dinner is.
It's a good excuse to make sure everyone gets there and shows up, and you can account for everybody. Like, all right, we're all here. Cool. Don't screw up tomorrow. You can give some stern talking tos to whoever you need to. Just the family core of everything. And kind of like that.
I think you're right.
Pregame.
It is a pregame. You're right, because I just looked it up real quick. The rehearsal dinner is important because it's the first time that that most close relatives from both sides family will meet and intermingle.
Oh wow, that's so true.
That makes a lot of sense, actually, to kind of almost get the icebreakers and the kind of weird first interactions out of the way, I guess.
Yeah, so you can be like, "Hey, Uncle Jerry, don't talk to him.
We gotta get the weirdness with Uncle Jerry out of the way now before the wedding.
Then by the time the actual wedding comes, Uncle Jerry's the inside joke that everyone's in on instead of just half the family. And I was like, oh, it's just Jerry.
Yeah. You're right. We should call it the Uncle Jerry dinner. I didn't talk about the hotel yet where we stayed. I don't think. Basically, what the hotel was like. Something I noticed about, and I think something we noticed about the hotel was that it was very. Everything was very small. I don't know what that's about. Like the elevator held. And this is a place with 6-7 stories, maybe 10 units per story, and the elevator could fit 2 people, 3 max. So it was a very interesting. Wasn't used to that. The way they built it was very interesting. It was very European. I don't know. Maybe you guys have been to Mexico, you know what I'm talking about. But it was like these little narrow hallways, and to get to the shower, you have to. It's about the width of my whole body. The door doesn't fully open. You're kind of cramped. It's like this cute little quaint thing with a massive shower for some reason. The shower was bigger than the elevator. I don't know who designed this place, but that's what happened. And but it was a great place. It was one of these places that I booked on hotels.com and crossed my fingers. Didn't want to spend a shitload of money, but it didn't want to put us in some sketchy place in a sketchy area. So I just kind of was like, hopefully the place is nice. And then something very traumatic happened in the middle of the night that I want to talk about. So slept great Thursday, woke up Friday. Again, Friday was a free day. So we which was really nice and very smart of the rehearsal dinner Uncle Jerry party, because if you drink a lot at the party, you have a day to recover before the wedding. So if you're planning a wedding, try to have a day in between, because I've heard that before of just being at your wedding so hungover, just sweating, and that would be horrible. So plan on a wedding, a day buffer, good idea. So wake up in the morning, and you're a little annoyed at me. A little bit, because it's something I didn't do in the middle of the night, which is put the toilet seat down. And did Kalie fall in the toilet?
I did. My big butt splashed right in the toilet. That's the second time I've fallen in a toilet this week, and that's why I was so upset.
I woke up. I was like, hey, why are you already awake?
I was like, we were in a foreign place with a foreign toilet, and it's dark. And
I fell in with the people's pee and poop and testicle hair. You said that. You said testicle hair.
Because then it's all over your butt.
So okay, let's back up.
And then you said, remember that South Park episode?
I did say remember that South Park episode. Mike, do you watch South Park?
I don't remember.
There's an episode. There's an episode where I think Clyde's like mom falls in the toilet, and then she and there was like, oh, what's a big deal? Just look down, and she ends up dying because she fell in the toilet. Like her organs got like sucked out of her butthole when they flushed the toilet. So, and then after that, they made everyone wear a seatbelt. They turned into like TSA. We have to like go through security to go through the toilet and like buckle your seatbelt, and they can pull the cops go through the window, and they're like, sir, you need to wear a seatbelt. Like give them a ticket because you didn't wear a seatbelt in the toilet. This is too much backstory. If you've seen the episode, you know what I'm talking about. But anyways, Kalie fell in the toilet. And so what happened is I didn't put the seat down, and I have questions for you on behalf of the two stupid men who are in the room. So you didn't look before you sat down, right? You just plopped down. And is it because you assumed the seat was down? So you just, in the middle of the night, it's dark. Take me through what happens as a woman.
I assume that I can trust.
Oh, well.
I go in there with trust that the toilet seat is going to be down.
Yeah.
Out of a courtesy.
One would think.
To me. One would think that I could trust.
One would think that you can trust.
Also, it's very dark.
Mm-hmm.
I can't turn the light on because I know it'll wake you up.
Which
so
is very
I walk in, it's very dark.
Yeah.
And I say, Jesus, take the wheel. I do a sitting motion. But if there's no seat to catch me when I perch.
It's like a trust fall.
Yes, it is. It's a fall of trust.
But instead of
But when there's nothing to catch you because trust wasn't there, you go in.
In in the toilet.
Your whole butt dips in the bowl.
Yeah.
And it's not fun.
And was there a part of you, and I didn't hear any of that. I didn't hear like a yelp. I didn't hear a splash.
No, I came out and you were just same old.
Mouth open, ugly sleeping. No idea. And did you think at the time, did you think of waking me up to be like, hey,
No.
what the fuck, man?
No way.
It's very nice.
I waited.
It's very, wait until the morning. Oh, he has no idea what's coming to him when he wakes up in his sweet little dreams. When he wakes up from his ugly mouth breathing, he's really going to get a talking to, which you did. And I deserved it. Because I put, not only did I put the toilet seat down the rest of the trip, I put the fucking lid down.
Yeah, you put the whole thing down.
Whole thing down. I took the tank off, put that on top of there too. I put some bungee cords on there in case you fell to propel yourself up. I was like, this girl's never fallen in the toilet as long as I know her.
Must have been pretty convincing.
Yeah. Well, I did feel bad too because I didn't want you to take a midnight shower into a dirty toilet bowl. So I do apologize for not putting the seat down.
Thank you.
But this is something that all men need to hear, you know? Put the toilet seat down. You don't want your lady to fall in and get sucked in and her organs get pulled out of her butt. That's bad.
And some people are going to say, though, it's her fault for not trusting. I mean,
Sure.
It's her fault for trusting too much.
What do you say to that?
You're probably right. Don't trust anyone. This goes out to the females.
You heard it here first. Continue to trust no one. Trust no toilet or man.
Always check before you sit.
But that's what I say. I say at least check, because what if I didn't? You know, what if I didn't put the seat down? I don't know. But you fell in and you were okay. And we made it through. Did we fight a lot during the trip? Maybe. But that's not important right now. So
always come back to love.
We do.
Love and light.
Love and light and toilets. So Friday we had a free day. I'd planned a couple things, but when a guy plans an itinerary, it's not as good as when a girl plans an itinerary. Like if you plan an itinerary, we got bow, this thing. And I was like, here's one thing that looks nice and has a lot of reviews, right? That's all I got. I looked up a few restaurants and one thing. And I was like, big day. Let's go. We went to well, let me talk about the actual, this Mexico City as a place is, I think the city I can compare to the most is New York. It was very go. It was all the buildings were very close. The sidewalks were kind of like that up and down cracked type of thing, where it was like weathered. It was like a weathered city, but people were moving and shaking, and the cars were going, and which I liked. I almost call it like a controlled chaos. Like it was a lot going on, but everyone was on the same page. Everyone knew what was going on. What I liked is like the drivers, they were very, there was no like, you know what I think it's so annoying is when you're crossing a crosswalk and they're like, dude, you go. No, you go. You go. No, it's okay. You go. And you're all just sitting there. I'm like, bro, someone just go. In Mexico City, they're going. There's no you go, I go. They go. And you fucking look and make sure you don't get hit by the go, right? Which I liked a lot because I hate, even in a car, the worst is when two people are at a stop sign and you're like, you can go ahead. And they're like, no, you go. I'm like, what are we on a date? Fucking hurry up. That makes me so mad when you say someone, you go, and then they go, no, it's okay. Shut up. I'll never see you again. Go. Goodbye. I will say this. There was a lot of translating on Google because we literally had to like, here's what I want to say. This is what I'm trying to say. And shout out to the people of Mexico City. And we agreed on this. And every single person we interacted with was nice, polite, patient. That's the big word that comes to mind, is patient. Because not once did I have an interaction with someone and they were like, like this American, like Jesus, man, like get it together, learn Spanish or be quicker on the, everyone was like, just like waiting.
If anything, they would just laugh at us afterwards, which is almost a little bit more demoralizing. But
do it behind our backs. That's fine when we're already gone.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that I thought was really. I think my favorite part of the trip, like the people of the trip, was just the vibe of everyone of how great they were and how just really nice and sweet everybody was, and the pace. I talked about how go the pace was, but also the pace felt very relaxed. I think that's something you pointed out about how. Like if there's someone behind you at a coffee shop, you can feel them being like, come on, man, hurry up. I got places to go, I got places to be. People behind you were like, take your time, translate, whatever you got to do, which I appreciated the pace. The pace of that was really nice. And I think that's kind of a US thing, how people are in this kind of crazy go type of pace.
You go to any other country and everyone's just chilling.
Yeah. It made me wish that that's how it was in America. Even today, I was like running, I went to Trader Joe's and ran some errands, and just being in the parking lot was just like, everyone was so tense and honking and, hurry, what are you doing? And it was like, man, I miss Mexico City. So we had a great time hanging out Friday. We ended up going to a very nice dinner. I tried to find kind of one of the fanciest restaurants I could find to take my lady out to a very nice dinner. And I also want to make a note about how paranoid I was about the water. Let's dive into that real quick. So the rules about so basically what I was told was, in Mexico, you can't drink the water. You can't drink the tap water, basically, or you'll get sick. And I actually looked up why that is. It's because the way they filter the water, our stomachs aren't used to it. Like citizens of Mexico, they've been drinking that water for a lot of their life, so they're more used to whatever they put in the water. And so, us as Americans, you'll get sick if you don't drink the water. And so I'm already kind of a paranoid guy about getting sick, and I already have the germaphobe tendencies with the OCD. So I was on like high alert for the water the whole time, and would get us bottled water everywhere. And most people do this when they go to Mexico anyways. I don't think I'm saying anything insane, but I was also paranoid about like the ice, because I thought they make, the ice from the tap water, which will get us sick. So, going to a restaurant was kind of nerve wracking because, we order a cocktail with ice, and I'm like, no, God, get it out of your hands. No, don't drink the ice. And I was asking the servers like multiple times, like, is this bottled water? Is this tap water? And Kalie was rightfully getting a little annoyed about it, because I was very much like super paranoid about it, because I really didn't want to get sick. We're there for my friend's wedding, and we if I were to get sick, we don't have enough time to recover, basically, because the next day is the wedding. So I wanted to be super, super careful the whole time. I don't know if you have anything to say about the whole water thing and your experience from your end.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was annoyed so much as more like worried.
Yeah.
Because Will kept going, I'm gonna ask her. I'm gonna ask the waitress about the ice, and I'm like, please don't ask the wait. We were at like one of the nicest restaurants in like the country probably, and you're asking if the ice is gonna get you sick. And so we Googled it right there at the bar, and like all these like Reddit answers or whatever, like one of them specifically said, do not go to a fancy restaurant and ask the waiters about the water or the ice. That's very rude. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
So,
which is totally fair. I let my paranoia kind of get the best of me, and was like, if I'm a little bit rude,
I mean,
it is what it is.
They were there for a wedding, so it makes sense you didn't want to get sick.
Yeah. And I didn't mean to put that on you, like you were annoyed at me. I thought you were right for being annoyed at me. I think that you were right for feeling that way, or embarrassed or whatever.
Oh, embarrassed is a good word.
Yeah, I totally get that. I kind of prioritize my keeping us safe, and just make for like the 10% chance we get sick. I just didn't want to have that happen. It's scary to get sick in a foreign country, because you just don't know, like, what if you get really sick? If you go to like a hospital, I'm like, the idea gives me so much anxiety. I was like, I'm gonna ask the waitress.
You learn a lot about your partner when you're traveling with them.
Yeah.
When you're in a different environment, different country.
Really
When
do.
stress levels are high, you really get to see what they're like.
And I think that's a really good test for relationships, is to travel like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I mentioned that we like, I jokingly said we fought a lot on the trip, but I mean, we definitely got into a lot of heated moments, because it's like there was a lot of stress going on.
Very stressful. And
we're very close, and we get along super well. We don't really fight that much, but we really were. We definitely had some moments on the trip
for like no reason.
Yeah, for very small reasons.
Like we just couldn't say. We couldn't speak Spanish. We were just panicking.
I know. It was a stress. There was a lot of stress, but again, I think it's a really good test for couples. I feel like we probably got closer because of that, and getting through what we did get through, I think, was really good and important, and it almost makes everything easier if you can get through traveling in a foreign country for 3.5 days, and not want to kill each other. I think that's like a really good test for a relationship. I think everyone who is in a relationship should go like travel internationally with their partner, just to, I don't know, like you said, to learn more about each other and get through hardships, together, which I think we did. And that's also good about us, is if we get annoyed at each other or whatever, we snap back pretty quick, which is good. It's not this like, I'm going to sleep on the couch. Fine. I'm going to sleep in the toilet. Like, I don't think it was like that. It was very much like we came back together very easily. So we have beautiful
Put the toilet seat up on purpose.
I know. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Doink. Splash. I do ASMR now.
Like sneak a little bit of tap water in your drink.
Yeah. She's poisoned me. Anyways, shout out to the dinner we had. Carmela y Sal was the name of the restaurant. We had a great time. And then this is my favorite part that I get to tell you about is my snack adventure. So this is a story that I saved for the podcast to tell Kalie because I didn't tell her the full experience of what happened. So let me set the scene. So this whole day we did the dinner. No one got sick. Come back and we're like, oh, let's have a little fun. Maybe smoke a little weed. Maybe you're not. I don't know. Who's to say? But Papa is gonna go get us some snacks, right? I gotta get some snacks and some bottled water. That was my mission. And Kalie was gonna stay put. We had a long day. I was like, you know what? You stay in. I'm gonna go out and find us some snacks, right? And at this point, I can take the accountability. I was a little high at the time, okay? And I was walking around the streets of Mexico by myself, and I was okay with this. I was like, you know what? I'm on a mission. I gotta take care of my woman. Let's go get us some snacks, right? And she was like, hey, let me know basically what you find when you get there. Right? Like, let me know what the snack options are and I'll tell you what I want. And I was like, no problem. This is easy. Walk into the convenience store. All the convenience stores are named the same. They're called OXXO, OXXO. These are like the 7-Elevens, but they're on almost every block in Mexico City, which is really convenient. They have like just a lot of convenience stores. So I walk in and I'm on a mission. I'm like, all right, I got to get some salty snacks, some sweet snacks, and some bottled water. I got this shit. So I walk in and I look at the snacks and I'm like, oh, I don't know what any of these are. And I'm like a little stoned. So I was even more confused. And I'm in this small little almost gas station convenience store with one guy at the counter just looking at me. And I'm looking at the snacks just panicking. Like, I don't even know what these things are. Like the Ruffles flavors aren't even flavors. They're like papitas. I'm like, what flavor is this papitas? I don't even know what that is. And I'm like, I don't even know what Kalie would want because these aren't even snacks that we even know exist. So I'm already panicking. And at one point I put my AirPods in to call you to be like, okay, here are the snack things. Already so embarrassed because like the guy in the convenience store is just watching me like panicking, looking, pacing around for like a long time. I was in there trying to decide what to get. Again, called you. I was like, I don't know what to do. I have to just get some snacks and I'm panicking, right? I get legit. I didn't tell you this. So I got so many snacks. I got like 4 candy bars, 4 bags of chips, like 2 big waters, some sparkling water. Like I got a shitload of stuff just out of safety. I was like, let me just get everything, right? I go to the counter and I go to use the Apple Pay on my phone. And the guy said, no, you have to do the card only. And I was like, fuck, I didn't bring my card. So after all this, I got to walk all the way back to the hotel because I forgot my card, which is like, it was like a long walk because one was closed and there was a whole thing. And finally get back to the room. I'm knocking on the door. You couldn't hear the knocking. I don't know why that was. Another design flaw. You're asleep. I'm knocking. She can't hear me. I call you. Thank God you woke up and had service. That was also a thing. We didn't have cell service for like half the time. So you let me in and I'm like, okay, after this whole adventure, I got to go back and do this whole thing again. And you're like, you don't have to go. And I was like, no, you don't get it. I'm on a mission right now. Like I'm on a snack mission. I have to complete the mission. So I'm like, all right. And I know you're going to go back to sleep. So I'm like, all right, let me go do this whole thing again. Go back outside. And now I'm at the point where I couldn't find this. My phone GPS wasn't working well enough. So it wasn't updating me where my current location was very accurately. So I was walking around being like, I don't know where the same convenience store is. And let me just go to another one. That one's closed. And I'm like, okay. And I see one in the distance. Let me walk over there. That one's closed. And I would look at my phone and now I have no service. And I'm looking around and I'm like, I don't know where I am. So now I'm like, I've lost the convenience store. Everyone's closed. And now I'm lost. And that was at one point. And by the way, all the snacks that I had are still on the guy's counter. I just left them on the counter and left. So that guy is probably like, what happened to him? He just left. It's like a shitload of snacks on the counter. I just left. At that point, I was a little nervous because I was legit lost. I had no service. At that point, I was a little like, mama, like, where do I go now? I kept walking, and what made me feel really safe is that these people were like grilling and making food on the street corner, and it was like a family, and it was 12:30 at this point, and I actually felt very safe. The people, at first I felt sketchy, but the whole town was very safe and very nice. There was a baby walking around at one point with the family. It was like midnight, and this baby was just like, walking around, and the family was like, hey, having just a great. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I immediately felt safe. I was like, okay, I think I can do this. Finally, I find an open convenience store, which open actually meant the window was open only. You don't know this part. So it was only the window. So you couldn't even go in the convenience store. So I had to now order the snacks through the window to the guy. And I can't be like, okay, so I want a Milky Way and a peanut M&Ms. I had to like kind of pick and choose, right? I had to pick like a few things. I can't just be like, get this, get this, get this. Especially because the guy didn't speak English. So I had to translate everything from my phone and show him. And I literally typed in my phone, 2 big cold waters. And I showed him. And he got it right. And what I thought was so funny when I was ordering this, I didn't tell you this either, is that this I at one point I had to pull off to the side and let other people go because I was taking too long to like type it into my phone, right? And this one dude pulled up out of a car and got out, and he was asking for things to the guy. And the guy gave him a stick of deodorant and 4 packs of gum. And the guy literally, I went to continue to order our snacks, and the guy literally opened the deodorant, took the plastic thing off, threw it, put the deodorant on, 4 packs of gum. He like pulled over, put the deodorant on, and threw the deodorant away, got in the car, and left.
He was going on a date.
That's what I'm thinking. The 4 packs of gum was hilarious. Like he got so much gum and threw the deodorant in the trash.
That's crazy.
I was like, what is this dude's life? I couldn't believe it. But I ended up getting the snacks. Got a little bag of snacks, and I'm feeling great. Which, by the way, I think I've decided also something about Mexico City that I like. I really liked not talking to people. I kind of liked typing into my phone and be like, this is what I want to say. Like, yep, this is what I want. Here you go. Instead of having to talk, it's kind of nice. I do too much talking anyways. I'm sick of my voice. Google Translate. Shout out. So finally got back, knocking on the door. You fully were asleep. Did not open the door. I called you. Oh, I didn't have cell service at that point. When I'm outside of the door, I'm ringing the doorbell. That didn't wake you up. Like, bring, bring. Didn't wake you up. I'm standing there with snacks. I'm like, still panicking a little bit, right? Finally, I called you and the cell service went through and you woke up and let me in. And I don't know what was going on in that room while I was gone, but that was the hottest room I've ever walked into in my entire life. I don't know if there's an option on the thermostat for Kelvin, but it was so hot in that room. You were just in this roasting in this sauna of a room. I was like, what did you do while I was gone? You were already asleep. I mean, you were just like, I think you ate 3 peanut M&Ms and then continued to sleep. And I sat there and watched basketball and ate Ruffles queso.
Shout out to Ruffles queso.
How good were those?
So good.
Mm-hmm.
God, I wish we had those in America.
I'm saying.
Those were really good.
Those are the ones I picked because that felt safe. I was like, I know what queso is, and I know what Ruffles are. Go ahead, Mike.
Fat person in the room. They have Ruffles queso in America.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is big information.
I don't normally eat
From
Ruffles,
a big guy.
but
I love it. Shout out to Mike.
Shout out to Mike.
Great. Ruffles queso. Another sponsor.
Shout out to America.
half blue, half green bag. You can get them at
Wow.
Walgreens. I think I got one on the table at home.
They're so good.
Wow.
I'll send you a picture tonight to prove it.
Please do. Yeah, as if
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
believe you. That's
But
great.
Also, I can't believe you didn't tell me about the guy with the deodorant. I'm
know.
glad you saved that.
I know, because I wanted to save some of this and not tell you.
I'd like to think that that's like a regular thing he does. He's like, just give me my usual. All right. Gotcha. Deodorant, 4 gums,
4.
trash. All right.
The trash in the deodorant is it like destroying the evidence of smelling good. It's as if he was picking up a date and she's like, why do you smell so good? He's like, it's just naturally who I am. Like, what's his plan? I don't know. But that was and I was still a little high at this point. So just watching this guy, I'm like, what is this order? What is going on? So that was my snack adventure. I do want to also make a comment of how not only hot do you like the room, but you also like the shower. So hot. And I think that's maybe a girl thing. I don't think that's only a you thing. I think girls just like showers really hot.
Mhm.
As the female representative, do you have anything to say about why you like a shower to be scalding hot?
I don't really know if I have a good answer for that.
Okay.
I'm from Florida, got lizard skin. I just like being hot. Makes me feel held.
Like
I
a comfort
think
thing.
actually there's something behind like why we take baths, because it's like it kind of like mimics being in the mother's womb or something.
Whoa. Yeah.
I could just be making that up.
You're saying it really confidently, so I believe you. But I mean, you like it. You like it so hot that it's like, washing away your trauma. I mean, it is hot enough to like fry fajitas.
Ain't no temperature that can wash away this trauma.
Friday night went totally fine in terms of sleeping. Toilet seat was super down. Didn't fall in, right?
Nope.
Love it. So Saturday was the wedding. And we had, the wedding was, I think, at 2. So we had a nice little morning. We got coffee in the morning. Walked through, it's the Day of the Dead. Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah, the whole weekend was Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah, so we walked along a parade, got annoyed at each other, repaired that, kept walking down the parade. And the parade was really cool. Again, just people, tons of vendors selling stuff. Everyone's just selling stuff the whole time, like snacks and little toys and little like confetti things. Did you see the bouncy balls? Super cool. They had a bouncy ball with like a strings attached to it, so it would fly in the air and you'd see it like this flying. It was really cool looking.
Everyone had the skull mask.
The skull mask, face painted. If we didn't have the wedding, I would have said we should get our face painted.
Yeah, I was thinking that
I
too.
think it would have been really fun. But we had a wedding to go to. And the wedding was about 40 minutes away. And also, I want to talk about the Uber drivers really quickly. I think based on that first drive, I was a little worried about the quality of the drivers. You're in a foreign country. I have no idea how this is going to go. But the Uber drivers in Mexico City were the best and dopest Uber drivers in the game. Not even close. These dudes were the shit. They were professional. They were safe. They looked nice. It was the whole experience of an Uber driver in Mexico City was 10 out of 10. And I know you agree with me on this. I mean, it was a little chaotic, but you felt safe because they knew the chaos.
Yeah, which I think also it's important to lay the context
Please.
that traffic in Mexico is very, very different than traffic in America.
Exactly.
It's like here we have a mix of people, like locals or foreigners, and everyone kind of drives different. You got the old people driving slow, and then you got the people that are driving crazy, and there's so many accidents all the time. And then you go to Mexico, and it's like everyone's driving this close to each other, super fast. Everyone just knows where to go. It's almost like watching ants, like a colony of ants just zipping. And these Uber drivers really, really got us there.
And the cars are also kind of smaller too. They're a lot of smaller like Volkswagen hatchbacks, and they're really zipping around. All the cars are a little dinged up too. So as if you kind of almost like bump each other a little bit, and it's part of the culture. Like that's fine. And here you asked a question, and you were like, I wonder if these people would get out and exchange insurance. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like you get dinged up and you keep going.
Yeah, because people would get this close. Even in one of our Ubers, he ran into something and his side mirror went in.
Yeah, I forgot about that. And he was like, and he like went and like popped it back out. And he's like, we're like, yo, this is great. Because it really felt almost worrisome at first because it was so chaotic. But I was so comfortable in those Ubers. They really knew what they were doing. And
it felt kind of like a roller coaster. You go on those bumpy roads.
the roads were pretty intense.
They were driving manual too. So you were just
but I just fully trusted them. They all, and I want to say like even just appearance wise, I think we've been in a few Ubers where just like the hygiene's a little off. Where remember that one we took in San Francisco where the guy was like itching his head the whole time and it was really gross. And just some people just don't. You just get in an Uber and it smells, and the person's it just is like maybe wearing a loose tank top. You're looking at their like armpits. I was like, ugh. But these dudes were like slick back hair as if they were going into an office, which I thought was just really cool. They were so professional and I just can't say enough how impressed I was with the Ubers. Truly the best. And again, please, if you've ever been to Mexico City, by the way, please comment your thoughts because I would love to hear if we were spot on about things you maybe disagree with. I would love to know if you guys have any experience with this. Weddings are really interesting. I've yet to go to a wedding that I haven't pretty much cried at. And I'm not talking like not like that, but tearing up pretty consistently. I don't know what it is about weddings, but they get me. And I know they got you as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, a Super Bowl commercial can get me. Like I will cry at anything, but yeah, I feel like if you don't cry at a wedding or at least feel like just a little bit of swelling up in your eye right here, what are you doing? What kind of life are you living if you're not crying at weddings?
Oh, at least tearing up.
You feel anything?
it was like, it was one of those crying where sometimes I feeling crying is sometimes very cathartic, and I don't do it a lot. And it's not because I'm super manly. It's just because I don't, that emotion doesn't come out of me very much. I almost have to like force it out, force out emotions. But at a wedding, like I'm not giving the order in my brain to start crying, but it is like biologically happening. And I think that's beautiful. Like the vows really got me. And I mean, I've known my buddy for going on 12 years now, and just seeing him get married was super like emotional to someone who I think is so great. And it was just such a beautiful wedding with so many great people. And it was great. It really was. Real quick, Mike, are you crying at weddings? Maybe
sometimes depends how well I know them.
Fair. Yep. Actually, yeah. If I went to your friend's wedding, I don't know if I'd cry. I don't know if I would, because I don't think I've been to a wedding that I don't, as like a guest like that before.
Well, I've been to all of your friends' weddings now, and I hardly know them, and I have just bawled.
Okay. Good to know.
It's just something about two people being in love.
It really
and
is.
talking about it in like the most real like way. Like you can't talk about it more highly than what you do at your wedding. Those vows get me.
I know that's like the like the summary of your love in like the deepest way. It really is.
And it's like they don't share their vows beforehand. So when you hear like she reads all her vows and then he reads all his vows, and it has like a lot of references to things that she also mentioned in her vows. It's like they were on the same page and they love each other so much.
It was beautiful.
And you look at the crowd, you see the parents are crying.
I remember I was standing up and you were sitting down. I was behind you, like we were doing like a Sears family portrait, but I like felt you shaking. Like I like
trying to keep it in.
Felt you crying. I was like, yo, me too. He kept looking up at me like,
Do you think it's all a bit contagious too, like laughter at a club?
That's a really good question. I think a little bit for sure. I tried not to look at people because I think it would make me too. I almost felt like embarrassed looking at other people crying because I didn't almost want them to know I was watching them cry. Like I wanted to let them have their moment and just be in my own, just feel you crying instead. But it was beautiful. The best man speeches always get me too. When you hear them start to
game over.
I'm like, all right, come on, this is unfair.
Yeah.
And when, sorry, hold on.
Like they're doing so good, like they're being funny, and then they're like about to say something really.
And they stop.
They choke up. Oh.
I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
God. I'll start crying right now. Yeah. It was great.
Shout out to Steven.
Shout out to Steven Therese, man. That was a beautiful wedding. And had an amazing dinner. Holy shit, the dinner was unbelievable. They had like 4 courses. We had like an appetizer, a soup, a dinner, a dessert. It was and the full bar, by the way. Shout out to a wedding full bar. I've been to some weddings where it's like maybe beer and wine only, but they had everything. They had liquor, they had cocktails, they had margaritas. You had a couple spicy margaritas. Feeling spicy on the dance floor. Had a great time, really. There's a dude with a saxophone playing on the dance floor with sunglasses on, like a meme. It was so cool.
He was like the equivalent of the Salt guy.
Salt Bay.
But with saxophone.
Totally.
Sax Bay.
Did you see, I saw on Steve's Instagram, he at one point started playing the saxophone.
Steve?
Yeah.
Can Steve play sax?
Nope. Sure can't. But he had the sax. He was ripping away the sax, and it made me so happy. We missed that, but
wow.
But that was
great.
That was pretty great. So I went to sleep, and I was already a little anxious that night because I knew we had an early morning. It's hard to like enjoy a night when you know you have to get up early. And I think Kalie's probably better at this than me, but I'm like, I get pre-stressed out. I'm stressed out about something that has happening in 12 hours for whatever reason. I knew we had to get up really early. Our flight out of Mexico was 10:30 a.m. And when I went to Toronto to do shows, Kalie was with me in Toronto, and leaving Toronto was so long. There was security and then another like customs line that we were in that line for 2 hours maybe. It was a long time. So you had to get the airport really early before your flight. So I got us to the airport super, super early, like 2.5 hours before our flight. Already was stressed out, not only being hungover and exhausted from the wedding, but now I couldn't check in on my flight. And I tried everything, but it was like, you can't check in. And I'm like, oh my God. Thinking that we had to wait in that 2-hour line and security. I was already freaking out, already stressed out. I had to stand in line to like a help desk, just waiting there, and people are just everywhere. And again, being very polite and patient, but still very much, I was like full stress mode. Luckily, they were able to check me in, and I was like, all right. And we are now running through the airport in a good amount of time, by the way. But I was worried the whole time that we were going to hit that like 2-hour customs line. So I was like waiting for that, rushing, plenty of time to catch the flight, but I was worried about that line. And we never hit it. There was never a line. Security, we just breezed right through, kept our shoes on, took our laptops out. They let me take a water through the thing and then throw it out on the back end. Thought that was interesting. Like a breeze. The whole thing, breeze. Not a big deal. But I was so fucking stressed the whole time. It was so intense because also in my mind, we can't miss this flight. Because it's one thing if we miss like the Vegas flight, because we can drive home if we need to. But this one, I was like, we got to get out of Mexico. We have to get out of here. And so we did.
You got a little pat down.
Oh, I got more than a pat down, baby. It was a whole thing. So I don't know what happened, but for whatever reason, they like flagged me. I don't know what it was, but whatever the boarding pass I had, they wouldn't let me get on the flight without going through a rigorous security check. And they maybe flagged 8 of us. You got on the flight, no problem. And we had to do a whole security pat down where they took apart all of my bag, opened my toiletries, like I had to put my laptop, my phone, check for bombs on everything. Open my AirPod case, what's in there, what's in this. They made me sit down, take my shoes off, and they put gloves on and wiped my feet like this, and then tested the gloves. What went inside my shoes with the gloves and got all of the materials in my shoes, tested that out. And the craziest part is that I had a bottle of water. And they said, in English, they said, drink the water. I'm like, oh my, as if it was like a James Bond movie that someone was going to be poisoned. Like, ooh, no, you drink your drink first. Let me see if it's poisoned, right? I made a joke of it. I was like, sure, good. I'm thirsty. So cocky. And which that part I thought was super interesting. Finally, I got through everything and got on the flight, and we made it. I was so relieved that we made it, but it was a long ass flight, and I want to also give a very important no headphones update. So I've been very vocal on each episode about people not wearing headphones on flights, and I cannot wait to get this update. So you know, I have newfound confidence where I'm calling people out, right? If you don't have headphones on, I'm saying some shit to you, right? This flight, 2 rows ahead of us, some dude was playing a game, full volume, and no one was saying shit. Coins were flying. He was winning medals. It was so loud. Kalie barely heard it. She had a Britney Spears audiobook going, and she was in full invested in Britney. Rightfully so. It shit sounded so interesting.
Shout out to Britney.
Shout out to Britney. And at one point, this dude starts watching a movie, like an action movie, like Fast and Furious, full volume, explosions, machine guns, like loudly. And everyone was just playing solitaire, chilling out, relaxing. No one was doing anything. And I was like starting to kind of lose it because I was like, I can't believe no one's saying anything. And then Kalie jumps in, then I'm bringing her into the mix, and she's like, she takes Britney out, and she's like, you know, hey, what the fuck's going on here? I think this is before what you did, but we dinged the call button. Flight attendant, because it was too far ahead to say something. You would have had to get up out of the seat, go up to the guy, and we were a window middle, so we were like, we're not gonna, you know, it's too much work to go over to this guy. So we said, let's ding the flight attendant. Flight attendant came over, and we were like, hey, there's a person, no headphones. Can you say something? She's like, oh yeah, for sure. Again, the people, it was the same thing with the flight attendants. Everyone was so nice and calm and polite, but that was the problem. Because she like went up to the guy and was like, excuse me, like, could you mind turning it down a little bit? Thank you so much. Like it was in Spanish, but I think that was the vibe of what she said. Sure enough, the guy doesn't really do much at all. He like turns it down a little bit and it's still blasting. Crazy to hear a movie with explosions on a flight. And then so you decided to jump in and you, Kalie, shushed the plane full out, tilted her head up and went, shh. Not just once, 3 different times. Full shh. To people's credit, people didn't react at all. They didn't react to the explosions of the movie or Kalie doing a full volume shh. And I was looking at her like, is she really shushing the plane right now? Crazy. I thought I had confidence with no headphones. She fucking pulled up like, sorry, Brittany. Shh. Shit was so crazy. The craziest part is that the dude didn't stop. So it went on basically the whole flight. But the confidence of a full plane shush was so fire. And I want to give you a moment to kind of to go into your world of why you did that and your experience of that.
Wow. I didn't think I'd be called out like this.
I mean, that was a wild thing to do.
In the moment, I wasn't really even thinking about it. When there's something about when you are upset with something and there's someone objectively doing something that is valid and making you upset, I just need to jump in it. I didn't even hear this person's explosions or anything because my AirPods were in. But when you were like, you freaking hear that? This some guy playing his games. Then I'm like, oh, I'm in.
Like almost like Mama Bear like took over.
I really wanted to just go up to them myself, but also for these freaking Americans that are just so concerned with these little things.
I know that's the thing.
Everyone else was being so cool about it.
That's what's so interesting. Is it really like everyone on the flight seemed like they were from Mexico City, and they were so chill. Did not say it was so relaxed, and it was really like we were like the annoyed, high maintenance Americans who were like, "How can this man be playing a movie on the flight with no headphones?" I mean, it was really like, but to me, it's a valid thing. I think it's a crazy thing to do, and.
I think it was a long weekend. I was a little unhinged.
We both were.
I'm not a Karen type who does a full plane shush. I didn't even know I had it in me to do a full plane shush.
Three
plane
full
shushes.
plane.
Because the first two didn't work.
Third one didn't
I
either.
I wasn't shushing loud enough.
You shushed.
But I was thinking, what are they gonna say? Are they gonna try to fight me? I'm not arguing back.
They also didn't even know who probably shushed. You can't even see where the shush came from.
No, I know.
You weren't standing
up.
down
here under all my snacks.
Yeah. Yeah, yes. No, that was a loud shush.
Was it?
Oh, yeah. Loud shush, and no one reacted. No one even like looked at you. I don't know, but I was also kind of feeling like, oh, not like embarrassed, but I was like, oh, because I was like, oh, I don't know. Okay, she's shushing. She's shushing the plane.
I'm like, please don't ask about the water and the ice.
Yeah. Man, that was so sick. I mean, I thought I fucking was the man with that. But you trumped me completely. You no headphoned in me big time. I'll never full plane shush. There's no way. When we landed in Mexico, I was so fucking happy. I was so relieved that we made it. And when we started that descent, I was so happy. But again, early on, I said where Spirit messed up our flights, so we had to rent a car and drive from Vegas to LA, which is no traffic, no stopping, 4 hours, with relevant P stops and cheeseburger stops. It took us, maybe 5.5, 6 hours to get home. So the full day, we got up at 7 a.m.
And it was daylight savings.
Which is very trippy. So we got dark super early, so it threw us off. We were up at 7 a.m. and I think we got home at, 9 or something like 8 or 9 with daylight savings. Also, it was like an hour different. Anyways, the point is we had about a 14-hour travel day, and if I had it in me to cry when I got home, I would have.
I did.
You did?
For sure.
Yeah.
I cried like 3 times last night.
It was intense. It was a really intense day. I'm so happy that we made it back, and look, and I want to give Kalie a big shout out. Is that she was a trooper this whole time. This was not her friend. This was not her wedding. And she rocked with it the whole time, shushed a plane, got us places, ate snacks, fell in the toilet seat, didn't hurt herself. Really did such a great job. So I want to give you a shout out for being such a good teammate, such a great travel partner. We got mad at each other a lot, but we recovered a lot because we love each other. And I really had a great time with you in Mexico City.
Me too.
And I'll be back next week with a whole new podcast talking about my trips to Omaha and Kansas City. Hope you guys can make it to the shows. And again, Hartford, Boston next week. And thanks to Kalie for coming on. Thanks to Mike for producing. Thanks to Snail for sitting in the corner looking cute. And have a great rest of the week. Please like and subscribe. See you later.